Welcome to Malcom Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcom and Rachelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right Podcast. I'm your host, Malcom Reed, joined by my lovely and not very organized today wife, Miss Southern Shell.
I am super organized. You don't
I
even
feel like
realize.
you have technical difficulty. You got your paperwork there. Is that all the good notes we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, it is.
What are we talking about? Are we going to talk about?
Kick it off. We're going to talk about that brisket on a pellet grill.
Man, that thing was so good.
It was good.
I touched on that last week about how good it was, but now the video's out. The editing, was the editing tough on it? It was because it was such a long, it took,
No.
I mean, a long time to cook that one. That was over 16-hour cook.
Yeah, it was a long cook. But the only thing that was kind of even challenging was putting together the trim. Because it's hard to show the trim in a small amount of time, you know?
Yeah, because it does take a little bit.
Yeah.
In the video, it makes it look like I just whipped it right off. But
Yeah.
I mean, just taking the silver skin off the top, I take the time and try to get most of that off. And, that's several minutes, and then trimming the fat and then getting it all shaped up right. I mean, it's not hard to do, but slow down and take your time doing it. That's the main thing. Because if you try to trim a brisket fast, you'll screw one up. Or at least I've screwed plenty of them up.
So let's start off by talking about where'd you got the actual brisket itself.
So that one, I was strolling through Super Low because I can't take it anymore. I broke quarantine, and I have found that, some grocery stores still have meat. Now, the prices have went up because I was in Super Low, like this was 2 weeks ago when we bought that? It was before they started crying meat shortage. And
we
I was
cooked it last week, and you had bought it the week before.
Yeah.
So
we might have cooked it. Yeah, yeah.
We cooked it last week.
Okay. The days have run together. But I was in Super Low, which is a local grocery store chain. They sell certified Angus beef. It's it's on the front door of the store, and you go in, you can find it there. There's not many grocery store chains around our parts that sell it.
Yeah.
But Super Low is a family-owned chain. I think they have, 10 or so stores. I don't know how many they have in the Mid-South, Memphis area. But South Haven's closest one to us, and it's only about 20-minute drive. So I go there and look for meat because I love certified Angus beef. If I'm getting it from the grocery store, I'd look for that first. And lo and behold, there was this big, thick brisket laying there. And they only had like 3 of them. And I just looked at it, and I was like, man, that thing, the flat on it's thick all the way across. And when I see a brisket like that, I pick it up. And then I picked it up, and it felt good. And I was like, dang, I'm getting this brisket. It was only $63. I was like, well, I paid a lot more than that for a certified Angus beef brisket.
Hey, yeah. So what do you look
So I got it. And I didn't have any intention on really, trying to do a video. I was just, I ain't gonna pass up a good deal. It would sit in the freezer if I wanted it to, That's
so
the way.
When you say it felt good, explain that a little bit.
It was kind of loose. Like, you could tell that it started to break down. That's what I look for in brisket, some wet aging in the cryovac. And so that just means that the protein's starting to break down some.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going towards going towards spoilage, but this chemical reactions happen, bacteria starts working on it.
It's not
loosens
near
it up. It's not
spoilage.
bad.
Yeah.
That's what happens to meat.
Yeah.
And that's what aging does to
Yeah.
it. Either whether it's wet aged or dry aged, it's that meat breaking down. And so
when you pick it up in the middle, it kind of
it's starting to sag. It's not stiff anymore. If it's real stiff, that means they just packed it. Like it came off the production line, they put it in a box, and then hit the store. And if you happen to see meat by the case, every case of it will have a pack date, like the day that it was
and everything in
processed
that case
and packed. Yeah, and so like especially in brisket, you can go. I like to go 30 to 45 days. I've heard of some people going up as much as 60 in the cryovac, wet in a good cold refrigerator. But 30 days is ideal for me, and I had no idea what this one was. I didn't see a pack date on it.
Yeah,
I could just tell by feeling on it that it looked good. It still had good coloring. Had some decent fat on bottom. The flat was uniform thickness, and it was feeling kind of soft. I was like, look, this brisket's for me. And then I brought it home. I bought some other stuff that day.
$60-something.
$63.
Yeah.
And so I brought it home and told you, look, I got a brisket. We're gonna put it in the freezer. And cook it later. And I was already doing because I also found a certified Angus beef beef tenderloin, and that's what we did that week for the video.
Yeah, last week.
And then I said, well, I might do this brisket for 4th of July or whatever, but I'll put it in the freezer and freeze it. Instead of doing that, you said, well, why don't we just go ahead and do it and we'll have it on deck for Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have anything planned for Memorial Day. I knew we were going to cook a whole hog, and we thought we might get that out for Memorial Day. But since the hog, we threw the brisket in there, I said, we'll just release the brisket on a pellet grill. I've been wanting to cook one low and slow on a pellet grill for a while, ever since we went to Matt's. And he was talking, Matt Pittman's at Meat Church, and he was talking about how he cooks them super low, for a long time at first, lets it really get that bark on it. That's how you're kind of cheating a pellet grill and getting it to turn into some authentic, stick burner style brisket by starting it out super low. And that's what a lot of people don't do on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of these older pellet grills used to just have like smoke and cook or whatever. They didn't have a dial where you could dial in the temperature. They were just a knob you would turn. And so people were cooking on them slow when it first, people first started cooking on pellet grills for smoking. But what happens is people start getting short of time. They're not patient. They want to crank it up and finish it, and then the brisket don't turn out as good.
Yeah.
And to me, low and slow meat beats hot and fast meat all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you can't win with hot and fast stuff at contests, but when it comes to the overall eating experience of a piece of meat, like enjoyment, I think the low and slow wins out hands down. I mean, I can cook some hot and fast stuff and get some good fine pieces off of it.
Yeah.
But as a whole, it's not near as good as something that just slowly comes up through and renders and
You've told
gets
me that ribs seem
ring.
to do better and the fat renders better at a higher temp.
Well, yeah, but I'm not talking about 350 either. I'm talking about 275.
Yeah.
There's certain things, thinner cuts to me are better cooked hot and fast too. I mean, if chicken's better a little hotter, but for the big cuts, primarily is what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Butt, shoulders, brisket, big cuts of meat.
You can't beat
Chuck
it.
roast.
Yeah.
Well, I like them low and slow. I really do. Hands down. And so that was what this recipe was all about.
Yeah.
Or experiment or whatever you want to call it.
Can you get smoke ring and the bark on a pellet grill?
That'll rival a stick burner or any other type of pit that, traditional brisket cooking machine.
Well, tell me this. This kind of jumping ahead, flavor-wise.
Flavor-wise, it was phenomenal. And was it
better than your stick burner brisket?
It was as good, yeah. Definitely. Is anything I cooked on Jambo? I mean, flavor-wise, the whole way around, it was as good.
It was good.
I wouldn't be scared. I told you after we did it
side by side to really make a call.
Yeah. And maybe so. Maybe it's because I hadn't had brisket in a long time.
Yeah. I'm not. It was excellent. It wasn't like it was enough for me to be like, huh.
You could turn this in. That's exactly what we said. It was like, man, with a few tweaks, we could do a comp brisket like that. But you ain't got that much time. I mean, who's spending 16 plus hours? I mean, I guess you're there that long, but put it on there and let it go.
You couldn't.
You'd have to dedicate one pellet grill for that, I guess.
By the time you get meat inspection on Friday at, let's say, 9 a.m.
Yeah. You could do it.
You could do it.
Yeah, you could definitely do it.
You'd be cutting it close.
I mean, just think. So you need 16 hours.
Trim
if you had it on.
Season it. Well, you show up with it.
If you had it on by 3, I mean, 3 and then, you could do it. You could do it easy. You got 24 hours.
That's true.
If you just say you put it on noon, you got 24 hours till first turn-in starts. So there's time, but nobody at comp wants to do that anymore. It's about setting up, getting some sleep, and then getting up that morning and firing up and cooking everything.
Everybody's cooking
from
it hot
4:30 a.m. on.
Yeah.
That's how we still do our briskets slower overnight. We usually put them on around 11 or 12, and then slow cook them at first, and then wrap them, and then let the old hickory roll. Hey, that brisket was every bit as good as old hickory brisket too.
Yeah,
I thought so. No, I didn't inject it. I didn't do anything fancy. Didn't put nothing in the wrap. It was 2 seasonings.
How do you decide what to season it with?
Well, I know what I like on beef.
Yeah.
I like my hot rub on beef because it's more peppery, doesn't have as much sugar, and then the TX gives it crunch. I think steak rub would have been fine on it too.
Yeah.
But those 2 combos is simple as it gets, and you could use any seasoning you want. I just stay away from sweet stuff. I think on beef, a little is okay, but you don't want to coat it in the same amount of rub you'd put on a butt with sweet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put just. We used to put the barbecue rub all over briskets, and I think the hot is better on a brisket than definitely, because it still gives it the same color. It just don't have the sweetness.
It's got more savoriness, more heat. Yeah. But you do change it up a bit.
I do. I mean, the cook, you mean?
The seasoning.
Oh, yeah. From what I do to what? Like a comp cook or something?
I'm just saying you've got a lot of brisket recipes and they all have different
I mean,
seasonings.
there's one way to skin a cat. Salt and pepper is hard to beat on one, just straight TX. Or, you could run APE, a little BBQ rub, a little steak rub.
Yeah. You could definitely do AP. And,
I mean, that'd be good. That's what I do at comps. I mean, that was my comp brisket forever.
Yeah.
Layer AP, steak, and and then some regular BBQ rub, not heavy, just enough to give it some color, and then put steak all over the top of it for texture, and that's what gives it the bark. But now that I got the TX, I'll probably switch to that since comps start back. I'm probably just going to run this hot in TX. I like the combo, and I'll shoot it up with some butchers.
Well, so I collected a bunch of questions that people had left on the video.
Oh, we didn't finish talking about it. So then comes the cook. I got it trimmed. I got it seasoned.
I was going to ask you as we went through it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I like questions.
So somebody asked, is it truth to the myth that you should only season with salt first, since that's the only seasoning that will penetrate? If you're going to just let it sit.
I don't think so. I like getting all my seasonings on there. It kind of blends in, and salt probably does more work. Salt and sugar do more work on the outside, but as that thing's pulling moisture out and opening up the meat, the other flavors and stuff are getting in it too.
It's got to get in there.
Yeah,
it's got to.
So it ain't just. I think that's a myth. Just salt gets in there.
Yeah.
I call it a myth.
Myth.
Busted. It's a myth stamp. No, put your seasonings on there. Some people say don't even salt like a steak before you grill it. Only put it on at the end because I was like, man, come on, these people don't know what they're talking about.
Does putting the seasonings on there and allowing it to sit help you to build the smoke ring?
I would say that helps because ingredients in the seasoning cause a chemical reaction in the meat, which in turn causes that deeper kind of pink look, smoke ring look. It's not really from smoke does it too because it contains some of the same, ingredients like I think it's the nitric oxides or I forget I don't know the scientific daggum term for it, but it's a chemical change that occurs in that meat. It's good, yeah. And some people do it false. They'll put like Tender Quick all over it or something like that, and you'll see it's like a cure. It's like a super salt that goes really down and looks real fake on the meat. But I think if you just put some regular seasons on there and let it set, you'll get enough of it because you see the smoke ring was definitely there and prevalent, but that's about what I want in a smoke ring. I don't want it to look like I've tried to cure the whole half a slice of brisket.
Pastrami.
Like I'm turning into pastrami, yeah.
And so do you think that helps you cheat a little pellet brisket is letting the season sit?
No. I mean,
you don't have to.
You don't have to. Okay. I mean, you could have. I would always let anything sit about an hour before I put it on, just come up to room temp. So that's going to give it plenty of time. But that one, I think it was about 3 hours before. Let's see. I seasoned that brisket probably about 7:30. It was right at dusk. We still had some good, decent light. And I took it inside and just let it hang out on the counter. And then I put it in the fridge. It went in the fridge for about 2 hours. Then I pulled it out about 9:30. And then I lit the grill at 10:30 and it went on at 11. So it was, 4 hours, I guess, 4.5, something like 3.5, something like that. Total, which was plenty of time.
Yeah.
Then I lit the pit and started it at 195. That's the key.
One more question.
Okay.
How come you didn't use any injection?
Because I didn't want any injection in my meat. I just wanted some.
You just wanted to keep it simple.
I just wanted to taste that certified Angus beef. I wanted to taste the beefiness. I didn't need it. I mean, I rarely inject stuff at home.
Yeah.
Even pork or anything. I just don't do it. I don't want that extra. I want to taste the meat and the seasoning and the smoke. That's good barbecue to me. Now, if I'm in a contest, of course, I gotta juice it up, man. I gotta amp it up to 11. I can't just turn in 10 stuff. You gotta take it above the notch. But cooking it at home, I'm not putting all that stuff in it.
So you
I don't even inject butts at home. I just season them and go. I just like the taste of pork.
I think better that way. I'm not a fan of
I'm not sold. I'm gonna inject pork when I go back to comp cooking.
Really?
Just let it run. Yeah, we can always doctor it up once it gets done.
Oh heck yeah!
Put whatever you want on it.
That's most of what a contest is.
Yeah, how you finish.
Yeah. So any concern with it staying in the danger zone too long cooking at those low temps?
No, because I've got it seasoned heavily and the smoke's in there and it's not.
It's
It's
still
on the grill.
rising
It's
pretty
cooking.
fast,
Yeah.
It's not like the grill's off.
It's not like it's not like it's an environment where bacteria wants to grow in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Heck no.
No.
Deliciousness is
I mean,
going in there.
yeah. I mean, they do it to hams and all kinds of stuff. It just depends on how much of the seasoning and stuff you got in it. You know.
So you got the pit fired up.
Pit's fired up, 195, running pecan pellets.
You used some apple.
There was a blend. Was that what was in that bag?
Yeah. You can see the bag.
Oh, really? I didn't. Was it a blend?
I don't know.
I thought it was just pecan. The brown bag. Was it not?
I think you just happened to have a little piece of apple there and topped it
topped it
off.
off, yeah,
and that
maybe
just
so.
happened to be the clip that I got.
I know I poured mainly pecan in there.
So is there that much difference?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I like pecan on brisket. You know.
Yeah.
but
Can
if
you tell that
got other
much
stuff-
difference? If I was to
I
cook-
probably couldn't pick it out. Like, I mean, there's only certain species you could say, man, like, you know, somebody gave me some peach, I would know that was smoked with peach because you can taste it. If some apple so mild, cherry, I could probably pick out because cherry's real distinct.
I'm talking about pellets, not wood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Okay.
And then, but like the main thing of pellets, oak and hickory. That's what most of them are made up out of. The rest of it's just a little, you know, minuscule amounts to give it some flavor. So I doubt you could, like, if you used 100% pecan pellets or 100% cherry pellets, which I've done, I can tell the difference in the cherry.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
saying like you cook one on your
And somebody else
pellet.
running
I
one.
do the exact same thing.
I don't know. That's
We're
good. That's a
running
good.
two
That's a
different
good.
pellets.
That's a good
We do everything else the same.
experiment. I don't
Yeah.
know if you could tell. If you could tell,
Yeah.
maybe I need to run that.
That'd be a good experiment.
See if you pick up on the different types. I mean, it's so subjective. I doubt it. By the time you put anything else on it, if like all you put was smoke on it,
You probably
maybe.
could.
But if you did everything else, I doubt it. I seriously doubt somebody could pick it out. Now, if you use some pellets,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking here.
Yeah. So you get it on.
So it goes on 195, fat side down. I want it because my heat's coming up from the bottom of the grill through the deflector plate, kind of around the edges sometimes. So, you know, you want to put, if you got a hot spot on yours, make sure you put the thicker part of the brisket, usually the point end, over towards the hot spot. That's what I did. My hot spot was on the right wall.
That's a good tip.
So I put it there and I just let it, I went to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, I made sure the hopper was filled and went to bed.
People were asking, do you is it safe? And are you not concerned?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nowadays, the way they build these pellet grills.
heck yeah. I mean, I
If you were on
wouldn't
some
go buy a
old
brand new one from Home Depot and put it together and put a brisket on it and go to bed. I'd cook on it a bunch, but I've cooked on this grill 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I know what it's going to do. I know I can leave it for 8 hours and not have to worry about it. I mean,
Well, some people
as far
were
as
talking about
pellet
the-
use, at 195, it only used about an inch worth of pellets from the top. When I got up the next morning, it barely even moved.
I was so impressed with.
Yeah. And then on the whole thing, I bet I didn't burn
Even
a
on
half
Super Smoke.
bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't, I mean, that was the efficiency of that Timberline grill is incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then my Memphis grill, it's a pellet hog.
So is the Yoder.
And then the Yoder's a pellet hog. Yeah. You have to, you'd have to get up in the middle of the night and make sure you put some more in those.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know about running at 195 so low. That is low once it gets going. It really depends on the outside temp. If it's warm outside, I mean, how much it's going to use or whatever. But I was impressed.
If you were using one of those old pellet grills that has a tendency to,
Swing more and
or I was talking about
burn
fire,
more.
burn
Yeah.
back into the,
yeah.
we've had fires in the pellet hopper.
I have before. I've had a burn back before on the Yoder. Yeah, definitely.
But the new grills, they're very efficient.
Yep. So it went 8 hours in the smoke, on super smoke in the Traeger. And then the next morning it was 7 o'clock. I got up and we pulled it off and wrapped it. And the wrap, I didn't do anything. I just tore off some butcher paper, put the brisket fat down, wrapped it over tight around the flat, then brought the other piece over and tucked it under the point, folded the edges under, stuck a probe in it. It's sitting at about 148 degrees right then. And then I put it back on the pit and then it rolled. At that point, you can crank it up a little bit. I bumped it up to 250. just, to get a little more heat on it. Because if I'd have left it at 195, there ain't no telling how long it would have took. It might have took 2 days to get there. Because it's climbing slow. But in another 8 hours at 250, it was done. I mean, I temped out about 200 and felt good when I stuck it. And then I just let it rest and sliced it up. And man, it was really good.
Do you think if you're cooking it a lot faster, like a hot and fast style brisket, do you think that you need to take it up to a higher temp?
Probably so, yeah. When you're cooking hot and fast, most of the time you have to go on any cut of meat. You need to take it a little higher.
To make it render.
Yeah. To get it, because it pushes right through that and doesn't render good.
Because I've seen you take briskets up to 208.
Depends on the brisket, though.
It depends on the brisket.
I mean, we're cooking,
This one you took to 200.
Those Wagyus, we cooked them. I've cooked some of them 215 just because the fat content, where it feels right.
Yeah.
But most of the time on these, that was just a choice, CAB. I mean, around 198, 200, it's done. But it goes by feel. No two briskets cook alike. You got to feel it and see. I mean, 200 is a good gauge, but if it's still tight, still tight, you keep going until it.
So when it hit 200 and you probed it and it would have still felt tight, you'd have just.
Yeah, I would have said that needs a little bit longer. Let's let it go to 202 or 205 or something. See if it's going to break. It's going to break right in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to loosen up.
I was starting to get a little nervous because it was climbing so slow. Usually once they jump out of the stall, because it's set at a stall for a pretty long time.
Once we wrapped it at the stall and it stalled for probably, 5 hours or more.
Pretty much.
For real.
It climbs slow.
And then the last, once it got to 180, it broke and come on up.
But it was still climbing,
Yeah, it was slow.
Than normal.
It was slow.
So I was starting.
I thought we was going around daylight again.
Yeah, I was starting to get worried, because you've always heard like once a brisket's given all it can get, it'll start going backwards.
Yeah, I've seen it do that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if it starts going backwards,
better get it off.
You got to get it off.
It's gonna be ruined.
It's probably already
dry.
is.
Yeah, it probably already is at that point. This one wasn't dry though. It had plenty of moisture in it. It was just as good cold out of the refrigerator as it was when we cut it too, man. So what other questions you got?
So you didn't baste it at all.
No, I didn't do anything to it.
Yeah.
This was really, the whole premise was just seeing how it was cooked. Started out low. If I can get the bark, the smoke ring, the texture, all that. I didn't baby this brisket at all.
Yeah.
I was just cooking a brisket at that point, so simple 2 rubs and that's it. And let it roll until it was done and felt right, and then cut it. There was no, trickeration or anything like that. It was just straightforward.
A lot of people wanted to know why you didn't use a water pan for an overnight cook. I guess that's a thing. If you're going to cook overnight, you need a water pan.
No, I've never put one on a pellet grill.
Yeah.
I never put a water pan on a brisket. I don't want to mess my bark up. It's all about developing that bark. I don't put a water pan in the Jambo. I don't put it in the old hickory.
You don't put a water pan anywhere.
Not unless the cooker has a water pan, like a backwoods. And then I don't cook brisket on a backwoods because the texture doesn't turn out as good.
Can you use foil instead of butcher paper?
You can, but it'll soften up the bark. You don't get as good a bark. I mean, if you want an authentic, heavier bark, that I would always go butcher paper.
Do you think that a bark continues to build even if it's just a little bit?
Yeah, in the butcher paper it does.
In the butcher paper,
it don't in the foil. Aluminum foil kind of steam it off.
Yeah,
you don't get much. But I've noticed if you notice that brisket, it got a lot darker when I unwrapped it because of the way the moisture's wicked off of it from the paper. So it does continue to dry out a little, and form a little.
Do you think it gets a little more smoke ring?
I don't know. Never. You'd have to cut it. I've never cut it that early.
Yeah, I know.
And check to see.
So when you put it back on the pit after you wrapped it, you still went fat side down.
Yeah, it went fat. It stayed fat down the whole time, but that's really depending on the cooker. I mean, I like. Some people like to cook brisket fat up. I don't. I like my fat to be on the bottom, and I like the bark around the edges and all over the top.
What does it look like if you cook it fat side up?
It's got the fat on top, and then they flip it over, slice it, but the bark's not as good on bottom, so it just doesn't have as good texture.
So the cooler, the rest.
Yeah, just a dry cooler, nothing in it. If you got a big one, you might need to put some towels or a blanket or something in it, but
Those little party stackers are.
Man, they're great for resting meat, ain't they?
They
For
are.
butts or ribs or brisket, man, they're fantastic and they're dirt cheap. You can get them from Walmart or Amazon.
Yeah.
Walmart.com has them. I think they're less than $20.
Yeah, they're less than $20. And
It's called a party stacker.
they're super easy to wash out. I
Heck
like them
yeah.
because I can wash them out in our laundry room sink.
They also make great pool coolers.
Turns out.
Fill them up with beer and pour ice all over the top of them and sit right there on the edge of the pool.
I tested out does it really hold 24 beers?
Did it?
Heck yeah. And room for ice.
And room for ice. I like your style.
But how long can you keep it in there?
In the cooler?
Yeah.
I mean, 4 hours ain't going to hurt it, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go longer than 6 probably. I mean, we did a test on that. Me and Mark Williams did.
Yeah.
On leaving.
It took it a
and
while.
That was in
a
a different
butt.
cooler though. Was that?
It was different. It was,
It
a
was still the
butt,
same kind of
and it was the Island Break.
Island Breeze. Yeah, was that the same type? It's just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But man, it stayed in there for over 6-7 hours, wasn't it?
A lot of people.
If you're that worried, I mean, I wouldn't leave it in there all overnight or nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of people said, "How do you warm it up after you get out of there?" But it's hot.
it's hot. You better put gloves on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never. I don't know how long it would take it to drop below 140 degrees, and then once it gets below 140, you still got 4 hours before it needs to be refrigerated or thrown out. So you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if you left the probe in there, you could watch it. But I guarantee you, what's going to happen? It's going to climb up a few degrees, then it's going to start falling down, and it's going to stabilize out about 160, and it's going to sit there for hours and hours and hours. And 160 degree meat is still hot.
Heck yeah.
140 degree meat's hot.
Yeah.
To where you need a glove to handle it. So there's no rewarming it. You know, you don't have to rewarm it.
Heck no. We let that one sit for 2 hours, and you had to glove up.
Heck yeah,
and
it was
mess
still
with it.
steaming.
Yeah.
You can see when I pulled it out, and the pieces were still small.
Oh yeah, when you pulled the paper out,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
a lot of steam.
that barbecue facial going. It's good for your pores. Opens them up.
That's what gives you your youthful glow.
That's it.
This was a good question. About approximately how much weight do you feel the brisket loses during the cook?
I don't know. Because it definitely loses some.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's like
I don't think it's a
50% or
third
anything
or-
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, but I mean, I would say
An eighth,
no. I mean, it
little
probably lose
more?
a quarter. I bet.
a quarter.
Yeah, I would say. I'll have to do that sometime. I'll have to weigh it before I cook
for
it,
and weigh it after.
and then weigh it after, and let's see. That's something curious minds want to know.
Yeah, that I thought that was a good.
Let's
question.
see which meats. That would be a good one to do a comparison of butt and a brisket. Don't inject them
Which
or
loses the
anything.
most.
Just cook them pretty much the same way.
It's probably
Same.
the pork.
The pork's gonna look because it's got more fat. You think? That's a good. I don't know.
It's a good-
I would
yeah.
say, yeah.
That's
I
my
know that an
guess.
8-pound butt will yield about 4.5 pounds of meat. So you do have about almost 50% loss there.
Yeah, I just know the amount of juice that typically gets poured out of a butt that's been wrapped
Yeah,
is a lot more than
a brisket.
a brisket.
Yeah.
The renderings when I'm talking.
I would
about
say
the
because
juice.
brisket doesn't have as much fat.
Yeah.
It's more lean, so
Yeah.
you're not going to lose as much. I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that comparison. That's
pe-
one to add to the list.
people.
How much weight loss? People will think that's a whole different.
When capitalize on that market.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hey
I'm
guys,
out.
join me in this weight loss journey. We're about to put this brisket and pork butt on a diet. In just several short hours.
Your Weight Watchers contract's right around the corner.
Yeah. Oh, y'all thought I was talking about losing weight?
Fooled you. People were asking, was it still fun to cook? Because I guess people want to like mess with it.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't fun cook.
Yeah.
'Cause there was nothing to do.
You
I
said
put it on, went to
Jimmy.
bed, I wrapped it, and just watched the thermometer. And I'd go out there and check on it every hour or so, and still cooking shell. That was it. There's no shots in between. No use in going out. And
No.
I mean, yeah, it's still fun to cook just because I got something on the
Fun
grill.
to eat.
It's fun to eat. Yeah, cutting up and eating is the fun part.
But you
But
really
no,
didn't.
yeah.
You opened it to.
That's with the low and slow.
wrap
You
it,
don't
and
want to
that's
open
it.
it. You
Yeah.
you the whole time is leaving it on the grill. You know.
I think the more you mess with it,
Yeah,
the worse it is.
Longer it takes, for sure. I don't know about the worse it is, but the longer it takes.
Will this work with a tri-tip?
I've heard some people told me I've been seeing stuff, people cooking tri-tip like brisket. I've never tried it.
That'd be a good try.
I mean, you could do low you could definitely reverse sear tri-tip. So you could start it out super low, bring it up to wherever, 120 and then put it over and sear it. But you talking about cooking it like a brisket the whole way where it's up to like 200 degrees and slicing it? I don't know. To me, I think it would dry out.
I think it would too. I like my tri-tip.
If you had a Wagyu tri-tip.
I like my tri-tip rare.
I like it rare too. It's the where it melts in your mouth to me.
I've had some tri-tip.
I don't know what it would be like.
Ribeye.
That's another one to try. Actually, I was talking to Sterling Ball a few weeks back, and he was wanting to show me how to cook a brisket. He's like, man, I need to come show you how to cook a brisket or a tri-tip like a brisket. He said, you ever tried it? And I said, no, I've never tried it. So
I bet he would.
That might be, I might get him to show me how to, or go out there and show me how to do that.
Yeah, like a video or just okay, that'd be cool. That'd be a good video. One. Heck yeah. What'd you do with the leftovers?
I gave them to my mom.
Yeah, they're gonna be soup.
She said she was making open faced brisket sandwiches or something this weekend with gravy. And
oh wow!
I don't know what else she was doing with them.
Well, we ate.
She took them to Schwally.
A little bit.
Yeah, we had.
I got a piece of white
beef
bread.
tenderloin, and we had.
Yeah, I got a piece of white bread, a smear of mayonnaise, a piece of that fatty brisket, and 3 pickles, and folded it over like a half brisket sandwich.
Was it good?
Ooh, yes.
I put some of that creamy dill horseradish sauce on some. It was good.
Oh yeah, that you had left over from
the day before.
Yeah,
or 2 days before, I guess it was.
Everyone wants to see break with the Yoder back out.
I need to break the Yoder back out. I hadn't done it. I need to get my man Caleb get it ready.
See, the thing is, if it's sitting there and you get it in a routine,
I'll use it. Yeah. It's just so easy to turn on the Traeger in the Memphis because they're sitting there uncovered and ready to go, and the Yoder's just kind of sitting over there on its lonesome.
Maybe we just need to rearrange the grills.
Yeah, I hadn't fired it up in a while. I need to.
Yeah.
Swap it out.
So this week, I thought we'd talk about how to get authentic barbecue on a pellet smoker. Can you do it? Why do people hate on pellet grills so much?
I don't know.
I guess they say. I mean, I understand they say it's not real barbecue.
Yeah.
But what is real barbecue?
It's whatever.
If you're telling me the pellet grill's not real barbecue, you better be on some cinder blocks and
digging a hole or something. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get some people just like to complain and pick a side, you know. Yeah. But to me, it's barbecue. Some of the best food. I've cooked some fine food on a pellet grill. Won a lot of money cooking on a pellet grill contest, and there's a lot of people that have. You know, it's. I don't know why. I don't know why people hate on it. I don't have a good answer for that. Because I
get it.
It's definitely. You can cook low and slow on it. You can cook hot and fast on it. Are you building a fire? No, but it's still burning wood pellets. It's as much as a smoker as anything else.
If I'm gonna fire up a pit,
I'm not burning down wood and adding coals and shoveling and doing all that stuff. Is that real barbecue? Who's to say?
But I will say this.
I think real barbecues, you build some wood racks and you get some alligator and some garfish and hang them up on these racks, and then you build you a fire over to the side and you fan it and put banana leaves over it. That's probably real barbecue if you want to get down to it, What started in the islands.
I will say, if you said I'll cook you anything you want, I would say, why don't you bust out that drum smoker? I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, that's one thing. Pellet grills do make it easier.
Yes,
because I feel like anybody can go out there and put some pellets in a hopper, push power, and set the temp. And then they're off the smoke.
And you're going to turn out a pretty good product.
And it's going to turn out, if it's a little know-how, you know what you're doing. Can you? And going back to the question, can you get authentic barbecue flavor? Yeah, that's what I proved that with this brisket.
Yeah.
But you definitely can. You just have to kind of know how to operate it. So to me, that means if I want more smoke, if I want more bark on the outside of the meat, I've got to start it at lower temps. I can't just jump in at 250 degrees and expect the meat on a pellet grill to bark up, because it's not burning heat like that. It's at that temperature, those wood pellets aren't giving you as much as, say, some charcoal and some real smoke would. I get that. But down at lower temps where you're really giving it time to deform, you're giving it time in some smoke at a lower temperature, and the outside of the meat's changing and it's barking up itself. Yeah, I mean, that's how you get your authentic barbecue flavor on it, especially on pork and beef. It really works well. Now, I haven't experimented too much with other stuff at low temp. I don't like to cook chicken at low temp on pellet grills just because I don't like the texture of it.
Yeah.
Now, turkey does fine on pellet grills too. I cook it up around 275. So when I'm doing chicken, I'm usually running 275.
Yeah.
Now, ribs, if I start out ribs, I can start them out low, 225, or a little bit lower. Let them go the first couple hours till the bark gets right, then wrap them and crank it up, do the same thing. That's what gives you the authentic flavor on them. And that's how I think that's how you can produce some that's just as good or rivals,
anything else.
Anything else. Yeah. Now, is it going to give you the same flavor as you get on that drum? You talk about authentic drum or flavor from the fat dripping on the coals. You'll never get that.
Yeah.
There's not many cookers that will. My old hickory won't do that. Cook some fine barbecue. The Jambo cooks some fine barbecue, but it won't give you that same flavor as on that drum.
Would you
if you like that.
Would you trade all your other grills in for a couple pellets and just cook pellets?
Heck no. I won't do it because I like cooking on all of them.
Yeah.
I don't
think a tool.
It is.
It's part of your arsenal.
I use my pellet grills all the time. I mean, if I just want to fire something up quick, don't want to mess with starting the chimney of coals, and depends on what I'm cooking, I'm probably not going to throw a pork butt on my drum smoker if I'm just cooking one.
Yeah.
On my pellet grill. I'm going to fire up something else. But if I'm cooking some chicken, I'll throw that on there.
Yeah.
If I'm cooking a pork loin, something like that. Even a beef loin, beef tenderloin, or ribeye, I'll throw that, I'll throw a whole ribeye. I like them on pellet grills too. They're fine on there.
Wings does a heck of a wing.
Do a heck of a wing on it. So we use ours all the time. You've got to where you use it a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's great too. It's getting something like you'd never go out and fire up the drum or
I would fire up the drum, but I'll
get the old hickory going for what are you going to cook on it? But
yeah, I have before in a pinch.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you're not on an average day.
No,
you're not going to say, "Oh, I'm going to go fire up the old hickory."
I'm either going to fire up the Weber or PK. Yeah, I'm going to cook you a steak.
Right.
Yeah,
or the pellet grill.
Or I'm going to fire up the pellet grill and put some chicken wings on it.
Yeah. I don't even think you'd fire up the egg. Have you ever fired up the egg?
I don't think so.
Yeah, because it's just something you don't want to. I mean, it's just something it's more steps involved and you just don't do it when you got these other grills sitting around.
Yeah.
Now, I could see if that was your only choice.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be less likely to cook outside.
Yeah. Now I need to see if I can get that same kind of brisket on an egg because, it falls in the same thing. It doesn't produce as good a smoke to me or as good a bark because of the way the fire burns and oxygen in it. It's designed to be a closed off system, letting just a little bit of air in to keep your heat trapped in there. And so you sacrifice a little bit of flavor. A lot of people say you can't get any smoke in an egg because it's just,
really,
they're not putting enough wood in there. But if you just put a few pieces of wood, you're not going to get any much wood flavor at all.
Yeah.
But that would be a good experiment to run a super low brisket or pork butt on an egg to see if I can get the bark the same way. And I'm talking about let it go all night, really, really low, and see how long. I think it would burn that long for sure.
Would you let an egg go all night?
At a low temp like that, I would be scared too.
Yeah.
I've gotten some long cooks out of my egg before without, you never have to add coals.
Would you let the drum go overnight if you had the Guru hooked up?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because if you got it filled with charcoal briquettes and just running at, say, 250, 275, that drum will run 16 hours and not have to check up. Yeah.
I know you'll let the.
But if you run up around 325, it'll probably run about 8-10 hours.
Yeah, but still, you'd lay down and get some sleep.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. With the Guru on a drum, man, it runs as good as a pellet grill. It really does.
And your old hickory, you definitely use that all night.
Yeah. And I don't like cooking super low and slow on my drums either. They like 275 just to get for the air and the flow and everything, the meat dripping. I think when you check them down, as the fat starts dripping, there's not enough oxygen to keep the coals going right because you got them so choked off.
Yeah.
that it produces this bad kind of smoke flavor. It's almost like that.
So there isn't much low and slow on the drum. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
it's
Which
you
makes
need
sense.
you would need to
It's so
put a
direct.
diverter pan in or a water pan or something like that to change it up to get it to run lower.
Yeah,
Right. But I
that makes
just
sense.
I just think they run better at 275.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I want to cook at. You very rarely see me. I'm choking my drum down to, below. Sometimes a 250 maybe, but mostly 275 is where I run them at. It's just where they want to run.
Yeah. So, back to pellet smokers. Do you remember the first time you saw a pellet smoker?
I do. The first one that I remember is probably at Memphis in May, and we were cooking in the rib category, and John Willingham
Oh,
had, and
that was 2006 then.
it's been a long time.
Maybe before that.
I don't know if that was the first time I'd seen one. Those, but I just know he had those Wham cookers out there, and those are probably. I don't know if that's the first one I remember. Willingham's Wham pellet grill.
Did he invent the pellet grill?
No, he didn't invent the pellet grill. I don't think he invented that style.
Yeah.
And it's all like a open box rotisserie kind of carousel where you hang everything in it and it goes around in a circle like a carousel. Not like a rotator, like a Ferris wheel, more like a carousel. If that makes sense to you. And you hang stuff in it. And so he would hang ribs, and I guess he'd hang all kinds of stuff in it. But that was
Al Roker.
Yeah, Al Roker cooked on them. That was exact same one. Yeah.
Yes.
And what year was that? That had to be back in
Oh, it's
early 2000s.
yeah, early 2000s.
So, but
I was.
we were
you.
cooking. So that was probably the first model that I remember when I think of pellet grill was that one. And then we were cooking up in Dyersburg, Tennessee. And there's a guy up there, Big Bad Bob's from Dyersburg. And he was a Traeger rep, I guess. And I didn't know anything about Traeger grills. They weren't prevalent by any means. But he had one that was on an axle. It was had a big garage door on it. I mean, it was just like a whole hog cooker, pellet grill. And I'd never seen one. It was like, it had this roll up door like on a garage.
Where
on
were
the
they
front
making
of
those at?
Wherever in Traeger, I guess Oregon or wherever
Yeah.
they're from. That's where they come from. But you don't see many of them. He had one, so me and Waylon went over and was asking about it. And he's like, yeah, it's pellets. And I was like, what are you talking about, pellets? And he's like, so he showed us the hopper. And I was like, man, that's cool. I always wanted one of those. I still wouldn't mind having one. It was like fixed shelves, all full of shelves, big roll up garage doors, as wide. It's just a trailer wide. It's probably 4 or 5 foot tall.
Dang.
It's a big cooker.
Yeah.
Deep. It's probably.
So you could cook a whole hog?
Oh yeah, you could probably cook. You might cook 2 hogs on it. I don't know. I ain't seen one in a long time.
I bet it eats pellets.
I bet it does too. and then Kevin Tackett from Baby Back Grillers had some early model like modified pits, and they were Louisiana grills controllers, but they were on propane tanks. So it was like a stick burner
Something he
tank.
made?
I don't know who he got to fabricate it
Yeah.
up, but he had the whole pellet system in the end of it. And it didn't, I mean, this was like pre-ignition. It was just on or off. He adjusted it with the little knob, and there was no igniter or anything. He had to start it with like pure alcohol, and he'd start and get it going, and then heat that whole tank up. And that's what he won Memphis and May ribs with it.
Is that what he
So that was the first big win that I've seen on a pellet grill. Well, after that, I met some judges, Tom and Debbie Berkshire.
Yeah.
And Tom was doing some stuff with Yoder at the time. He was bringing some Yoders out and feeding judges and doing team things. And he kind of got to know me and asked me if we were interested in cooking in some on some pellet grills. And I was like, yeah, man, I'd love to, try one. I've seen them and I don't know much about them, but this was before they got really big. You didn't see them in Home Depot or Lowe's and all that.
Nobody.
And
this is kind of the first.
Yeah. And so I got
feel
hooked up with Yoder.
Yeah, Yoder kind of brought the pellet grill
Back to the forefront.
Yeah.
That was before Traeger did their big push and
Oh, yeah.
sold and got their new marketing team. And you didn't have Grill of Grills and all these others. I mean, there may have been a few manufacturers like Memphis Wood Fire Grills may have been around then. Mac may have been around, but nobody really knew who they were.
Yeah.
Those were fancy grills at the time. And then Yoder kind of come on. They were making stick burners and they'd gotten to the pellet market. And guys started using them in comps. So I got the YS 480. And that's what I cooked chicken on at contests for a long time. We'd roll it up had the comp card on it. It was one of the first You know, they first
It's
come
a
out with a comp
great-
cart.
Yeah.
Then I got a 640.
heavy
That's what I
duty
got
kit.
now. And then I transitioned to did something with Traeger, and they gave me a grill. And the Memphis, I met another guy from Memphis Grills, and they wanted me to cook on some of theirs. So
Everybody.
yeah. So now that's the three I have. I own three. I still got two of the 480s. And I got the 640, and I got a Traeger, and I got a Memphis, and cook on them all the time. You know,
Yeah.
pellet grills. I need to fire that 640 back up.
Heck yeah, let's do
The
the next
480,
pellet
one of the
grill.
480s is actually at my mom and dad's, and my dad uses it a lot. Waylon uses it when he goes there. He actually won a Rec Tech. It's in the garage and even
Yeah.
put together. So I don't know. I mean, I need to get it out. And
Somebody made a comment. I didn't write this one down, but it said, "Great video. You just need a real pellet grill, like a Rec Tech." Like,
is that better than the Timberline, you think?
I don't know.
Hey, I'd put that Timberline up against. It'll run with any of them. And I've
Those
tried
would-
to abuse it.
Yeah.
Believe me.
You've done some.
Yeah. I try to do everything. I try to tear my stuff up. That's the whole thing. If it's gonna break, it's gonna break. It's probably why the Yoder ain't been fired up. I don't think the igniter on it's working. I need to get it worked on.
Okay.
I mean, you got to know how stuff works, right?
Yeah. You got to break it and fix it to.
I'll
figure
tell
it
you
out.
one pellet grill that I'd really love to own is a FEC 100. Now you see those on comp circuits.
Yeah.
There's some
Butcher
guys.
cooks on them.
Yeah, I don't know if he still does. He used to.
He used to.
Was it
He's one.
Billy Durag? He used to.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
it Durag Q? They used to cook on FE. Man, he had a killer brisket. He would cook on. He would tear people up with that brisket. Man, that was back in the day. I don't know if he still has his or not.
What? So, any tips about using getting that authentic barbecue
Starting
flavor?
when you're cooking your big meats and you're really wanting to get that bark and smoke on the outside, start them off low. That's what really will change the way you cook on a pellet grill. And if you go back and you read any of these grill manufacturers' recipes, a lot of them will tell you that. They'll say, start it off in the smoke setting. Traeger's got the super smoke on some of theirs now. Some of them still have the smoke setting. But all that means is it's below 225 in that low range. So your pellet's having time to smoke. It's not pounding them through the hopper, the auger, having to keep that fire stoked. It's dropping them and letting them have time to burn up and to smoke. It's a slower cook.
Well, see,
And so
that
it
was
produces more smoke.
that was always my question. It seems like if it was super smoke, you'd be have to burn more.
No, I think
pellets.
I don't know how that feature works on there, but I think it has more to do with circulation of the fans.
Gotcha.
To make it produce more smoke. It's probably not dropping as much, kind of keep the fire low,
Yeah.
circulating more air to where it's circulate more smoke
and
and holding it in instead of trying to get it cleared out, I guess. I don't know, man. That Timberline does all. It sounds like it's got a jet engine in it. It's got all different kinds of things that kick on and kick off. I never took it apart and tried to see what makes it work. But the Memphis grill does too. It
Yeah.
does. I mean, but the technology on them. See, those are higher end pellet grills. They're not just like your Home Depot models.
that's what I think. People have gotten some.
They're
crappy
buying.
pellet
People
grills.
are buying the $500 ones, and it's basically a tin
crappy.
can. Yeah. I mean, and that's what happens, and then they get a bad reputation.
Yep.
Where if you go out and you go ahead and invest in one that's going to last years and years and years,
The
might cost more, but in the long run, you're going to get better cook out of it, and you're going to get, it's going to last a lot longer.
the when we went to Traeger and saw all the work and the development that they put into their grills,
I was
it's
impressed.
pretty impressed. Yeah, impressive. And they used to have a really bad reputation of being some cheap Chinese stuff, and they were for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, I was impressed with their R&D.
Yeah.
They had the Hurricane setup going and just running open controllers and grills nonstop for a month in hurricane-like weather, just pouring down water on it just to try to see what it would do. And they were still operating. I mean, they had some slick stuff going on.
They no longer are the cheap Chinese grills. Yeah.
I mean, not saying they don't have some lower-end models because all of them do. They're trying to, just like anything, you can get a low-end car or you can get a high-end car.
Yeah.
Same thing with grills. I mean, you can buy the base model stuff that's, entry level, and then you can buy the higher end stuff. You can create your own drum, or you can buy a gateway too, you know?
Yeah.
So it goes the same way across everything. It really does.
It does. So this weekend is Memorial Day weekend.
It is. Firing up the grills. Man, I've got a load of brats. I've got ribeye steaks. I've got these big jumbo quarter-pound Nathan's ultra classic hot dogs.
So let's talk about your hot dog real quick.
Yeah, so I don't know if they've released that yet, but Royal Oak, I got a text from the barbecue ninja, Mr. Craig himself, and wanted me to do my version of a hot dog. Whatever I wanted to do, I had free reign to do a hot dog, pick, and a recipe, and he was going to put it up against Heath Riles. And Heath got, he'd do the same thing. We're supposed to submit these picks and recipes.
It's like a hot dog off.
Yeah, it's a hot dog judge, and I guess they're going to put it on their.
I'm pulling it up, see if they've
social media this weekend, Instagram. You're going to be able to vote on which one you think's the best. So y'all go vote for my hot dog, no matter if you like it or not. But I'm going to tell you right now, I did what I called a barbecue nacho dog. So I took this giant quarter-pound Nathan's hot dogs. I found it super low. I'd never seen them before. Like $10 for a pack of hot dogs. But they are monsters. I mean, they're good, too. All beef. I mean, good hot dog. It's got to be the one Sam's or Costco's selling, right? You know,
yeah,
the one
it tasted like it. Yeah.
They're so good. It's a good hot dog. But so fired up the grill.
Royal
Oak. Got the hot dogs on there, and I kind of set it up 2-zone. And I didn't just put the hot dog right over and grill the dog. I moved it over to the slow zone, indirect, and then let it go, I don't know, 5-7 minutes, something like that. And then I brushed it with sauce, and then covered it with some barbecue rub, and I just kind of let it come up temp. And I honestly temped these hot dogs. I took them to 165, believe it or not. It took about 12 minutes. I was serious. Even though it was just a picture, I was serious what I was doing. So I had this glazed and seasoned up, beautiful hot dog. No, I never tempted a hot dog. I don't really ever cook these big monsters either, though, you know. Most of the time, I just put them on there and burn them a little bit, make them all feed them to a kid. I was cooking this hot dog, though. And so the premise was barbecue nachos, one of my favorite treats going to the ballpark. Hot dogs, ballpark food. I'm combining them. Barbecue nacho dog. So I got me a good, was it a bunny sausage roll, bunny brand bread?
That's our new favorite.
Oh, they were soft. They're perfect. Hot dogs on there, but it's
not a hot dog bun. It's
a
brat bun.
Yeah, it's a brat bun.
Brat and sausage or something.
Yeah. But the hot dog, these big hot dogs stick off the edge just a little bit. Just looks like something you'd see on TV commercial. And then I covered it with nacho cheese. The hot dog, not smothered, just kind of drizzled it.
Yeah.
And then we had some we cooked a whole hog last week. So I had some that pulled hog meat in the refrigerator. So we just warmed it up and then put it on top of the cheese, drizzled it with more barbecue sauce, put some jalapenos on there and some pico just for some, garnished it up, and man, it was a good hot dog.
We served it with
tortilla chips and
nacho cheese dip. Yep.
That was barbecue nacho dog. So if Roy Oak doesn't release those photos this weekend, Shell will put them out there.
It was so good.
But that's a barbecue nacho dog.
It's like combining I love your idea. It's like combining two of my favorite little treats.
Yeah.
Hot dogs.
So I went back and bought another pack of those $10 hot dogs, and I'm cooking them for Memorial Day.
Real quick.
Memorial Day is a good hot dog holiday, right?
It's a perfect hot dog
There's going to be some kids, I'm sure, in the pool and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do brats, and I've got some country pleasing sausage in there, and some ribeye steaks, and probably baked potato one night. We'll probably make some homemade ice cream. We said something about making some homemade strawberry ice cream for me.
You keep bringing that up.
I'm not going to let that go. And then, I don't know, maybe some buffalo chicken dip.
Maybe.
It's going to be a good weekend, you know. Weather's hopefully be nice. It's supposed to chance of storm each day, but
hopefully it'll blow. It'll be warm.
It'll be warm.
We'll figure it out.
I'm looking forward to it.
Talking about the hog.
Hog video coming out.
Yes. So we cooked that hog. It took forever. It was a 24-hour hog.
I did some long cooking last week.
Yes.
I felt like that's all I did. I hadn't done a delicious dinner, but I'm going to do a couple of those this week, I think. So, but the hog took 24 hours.
It was a while.
We cooked it low and slow.
It was
on my old Hickory ELX pit. Running style racing hog.
Beautiful.
Jamie Marchbaum named him. Mr. Chris crispy bacon, and he was crispy.
He was.
It was delicious. I gave that. We gave that hog meat away, and everybody that we gave it to said it was phenomenal. And we didn't. I mean, that style of hog, you can't do a whole lot to it because it's mainly about the appearance and the skin and cooking it up right. But the meat was so tender. And I got to give a shout out to my man TK at Raymond's Meat Market.
Yes.
For hooking us up with that one. Hey, wait a minute. That reminded me. Do I have Barbecue Central? No, it'll be another week.
Yeah. First Tuesday.
I'm going to have to do that from
Orange Beach.
From Orange Beach because I'm going to be down there. I'm going to be gone next week.
Fishing.
Week after next, yeah.
The hog.
Take a computer.
I was thinking that's the best hog you've ever cooked.
I don't know about the best hog I ever cooked.
Well, I don't think I got to enjoy all the other hogs you've cooked because most of the time it's in contests or classes or whatever. So
that's right.
But it was
very good, and I can't wait to cook another one in my driveway. We couldn't be at Memphis in May, but at least we could put some smoke up for a long period. And I'm sure my neighbors hate me because it smelled so good. And it went on for 24 hours. Just they probably didn't know what to think. Fat guy's at it again. He's got this monstrosity of a smoker over here.
I'm pretty sure they're used to it by this point.
So, but that was fun. And Mark and Jamie from Swine Life come out and help me do that. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it's going to be a good video. I mean, Shell got so much footage over the course of 24 hours. It's going to take a while to edit that one. So it'll probably be another week. So next week we'll probably do a dinner or two or something. We'll see.
Yeah.
And that's we're in the process of getting a new mothership. That's what I'm going to call it. Headquarters. The mothership. So hopefully we're going to be changing studios and doing a lot more cool stuff in the near future.
Yeah, we might have a place to do classes.
Yes,
we might have a retail location.
Things are looking up. But
that's a conversation for another day. It's not 100% official.
No, we ain't closed yet. But
yeah,
hopefully it's coming. Well, Shell, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any other questions you got on your list that I didn't hit today?
No, you answered everything.
Good.
You were a good sport about it.
Yeah, I try to be.
Even though I could tell you're thinking about a pool, beer, and hot dogs.
I'm thinking about the big quarter-pound hot dogs. What can I do? I need to make a gringo dog. That'd be a good one.
Oh, do you want to talk about your Big Mon burger?
No, I'm going to let that be a surprise.
Okay.
I did a jerk burger last night. It was unbelievable. It was first time. I was doing some R&D. Shell took Michael to baseball practice, and I did a little R&D on a burger, and man, it turned out good.
It was
really good.
I mean,
drop that little hint that we got a good burger recipe coming. It'll probably come when I come back from fishing.
It was excellent. It was delicious.
So
no changes needed whatsoever. Sometimes I'll be like, you need a little tweak here or this. You need a little crunch or I give my feedback. I
nailed it
in a good way.
Well, Shell, where can everybody find us if they don't know?
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram. Happy Memorial Day.
Appreciate y'all hanging out with us this week, and we will be back next week to do it again.